If you haven't already, make sure you are subscribed to our NFL Draft YouTube channel here at Chat Sports. We will have all of our NFL Draft coverage posted right here. Welcome into NFL Daily. I am Tom Downey. Today's show, we're taking a look at the top 2025 NFL draft sleepers according to ESPN's Matt Miller. He spoke with some anonymous NFL scouts, GMs, scouting directors, executives. In general, this strikes me more as a first-round sleepers than like dudes you've never heard of who might end up getting drafted, which I think actually does make sense given the fact that we're in June and many, many months away from the actual 2025 NFL draft. Speaking of, if you still want more NFL draft videos here at Chat Sports, then like today's video. Especially if, Neal, this video is going out June 11th on Main. Maybe it comes in later in your feed. Like the video if you still want more coverage. So first up, and I'm going to go in positional order, not the order ESPN's article was in. And I did that to begin with the quarterback. That's Connor Weigman out of Texas A&M, who does have hype around the NFL. I was listening to my boy Trevor Sikkema. He had Weigman as his number one quarterback. I can't get there, though. Here's what one alleged NFL GM told Matt Miller. I'm telling you right now, Weigman will be the breakout quarterback this year. He'll be the guy everyone is asking, where did he come from next spring? Now, normally there is one, and Weigman does have some profile aspects of being that guy. He was better in 2023, little bit better competition, way higher completion percentage in fewer games, more yards in fewer games. Yeah, he threw 2 picks, but still more touchdowns and the same touchdowns in fewer games. My issue here, we've seen flashes. He has not played a full season yet of college football. He has a lot of the traits and stuff that you're searching for, but with that small of a sample size, I tend to look at the bigger games. And the bigger games have not been as good for Connor Weigman. Now, it's not to say he hasn't been terrible. He's been bad altogether. He had a good game against Ole Miss back in 2022, by the way. But there's a stark difference between his Power 5 opponents, mostly SEC, although he had a good game against yardage-wise against Miami this past year, and non-Power 5 games. A 20% difference in completion percentage. That is massive. 3 fewer games, but we're not that far behind in yards and yards per attempt. It's a 4-yard difference. It's 2 different players. And it's fair to wonder, is this beating up on Louisiana, Lafayette causing issues there, like New Mexico? I have question marks there. UMass, I think, was the other game back in 2022. There's talent, but I think Sleeper actually does work here, but there's a lot that he has to do better before I start putting him in my round 1 mock drafts. Do you think he ends up going in round 1? 1 for yes, 2 for no. It is today's pinned comment, so if the ad comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know. Running back Woody Marks is next up here from USC. I don't know why the Mississippi State headshot is so weird. He has half shoulder pads across the board. Whatever. You might have known by the name he went by last year. That was Joquavius Marks going by Woody this year for USC. Has shown flashes as a runner. The efficiency's been pretty solid. Some of the best work he did, though, was back in 2021 as a pass catcher for Mississippi State. 83 catches and for 500 yards. Now, it's only 6 yards per catch. Again, that was the offense back then. I like him as a sleeper. I'm not saying he's going to go in the Marshawn Lloyd range, but there are things to like about him as a prospect. We'll stick in the backfield here. Devin Neal out of Kansas. He's not necessarily the biggest guy, and I think that's okay. Here's what one AFC West scout told Matt Miller. I really think he fits the modern running back mold. He's not going to run over you, but in an outside zone scheme, he could be a really productive player. He was the lone Big 12 1,000-yard rusher returning for 2023. Then this kid named Ollie Gordon had a pretty big campaign. Listed at 5'11", 210. I'm curious if he's actually 5'11", 210. It doesn't look like that, but some guys have deceptive size and body frame and weight and everything. Has done some passing game stuff. Low key, I think that it's Kansas. I'm up here watching it, but the Jalen Daniels, Devin Neal combo, that's the quarterback, really fun. Also, Jalen Daniels could have been a good pick for a sleeper prospect, but I think we're going more like early round picks, and maybe Daniels fits that mold, maybe not. So name a 2025 NFL draft sleeper for me in the comments section. Can go even deeper than what ESPN did. Go vote or, I guess, reply in the comments. I like the inclusion of Deion Burks here out of Oklahoma. Because if you're just looking at the numbers, you're going, it's not that great. But I think he was underutilized in the Purdue offense. And I might not go as far as this AFC West area scout did. But he said, if you watch the spring game, meaning Oklahoma with Jackson Arnold, you can see the chemistry they already have. Not to make a helmet comparison, but Burks can be a Hollywood Brown type dude there. Again, I'm not sure I'll go that far, but I could see him going late round 1, early round 2. The production has not been great. Again, I blame the Purdue offense for that more than anything. I would not be shocked if in his lone year at Oklahoma, Deion Burks exceeds his career numbers at Purdue. Next up is Clay Webb out of Jacksonville State. He was a 5-star recruit for some of the services. It's more and more we kind of got to asterisk those, I feel like, because it's just not always quite right. The 24/7 Sports composite rankings had him as, I guess he was a 5-star in the 24/7 Sports composite. Disregard me there. Was it Georgia? Didn't play a lot. Went to Jacksonville State. Was a first-team All-American, All-Conference USA. Here's what I assume it's the same AFC West area scout, by the way, who's talking to, which is fine. The level of competition has to be weighed, but Webb looks like a dude that'll kill it at the Senior Bowl and really rise. Kind of like Mason McCormick did last year at the Shrine Bowl. He kind of didn't get beat. Again, like the scout said, level of competition matters there, but he got beat twice in pass protection all year. A sack and a hurry allowed. That's it. Now, was he playing the best of the best? Not necessarily, but that's really good production as far as I'm concerned. Now, we're talking about the 2025 draft class today. You can get the 2024 rookie class jerseys at chatsports.com/NFL jersey. Caleb Williams, J.J. McCarthy, Michael Penix, Bo Nix, and all the other prospects from this year's class. Marvin Harrison at some point, I'm sure, will be on there, but TBD on that front. Link will be in the comments section and the description of today's show. It's chatsports.com/NFL jersey. Clickable link will also be available in the other corner of the video screen for you guys. Let's go to Arizona. Jonah Savaiinaea, who, this is where I want to make note, we've put him in round 1 mock drafts here at Chat Sports, and I've seen him in others. So I don't know, exactly what sleeper is. And sometimes it's your own bubble of hey, who's a sleeper for you? And you think you're onto someone early when turns out other people were kind of already there. He was the right guard with Jordan Morgan, or right tackle with Jordan Morgan playing left tackle at Arizona. I want to see better growth as a run blocker, although I thought he was still pretty good. Great size at 6'6", 330. I think there's a lot of ability there for Jonah moving forward. A nice Peebles, the Duke transfer to Virginia Tech. Here's your next undersized 3 technique who has the potential to make quite a bit of plays. Obviously, Dwayne Carter came from Duke last year. Peebles made some plays, though, too. 5 sacks, 8.5 TFLs. This one I think is a good sleeper name because he doesn't have the same buzz as other players do, but I think has the upside to take a big step forward in this upcoming 5th season for the Hokies. Trey Moore had a lot of interest from Power 5 programs this transfer portal cycle. He's going from UTSA to Texas, and I think can have a big-time jump in terms of general knowledge around him. By the way, he had an awesome pressure rate, one of the best in college football this last season. We'll see how he fares against bigger and better competition. One NFL scout said this: Moore is exactly what the Longhorns were missing. He's light, but we saw that work last year with Dallas Turner. Moore is really similar guy who could rocket up boards. The career production is very intriguing. 27 games played, averaging well over a tackle for loss per game and nearly a sack per game. That's good production. Now, Texas has talent, and they've hit the transfer portal pretty hard. Moore's listed at 235. I'd like to get him bulked up a little bit more because that's a sizable 12-pound difference between him and Dallas Turner, right? We haven't had a chance to ask this question in a while. Is Texas back? Why for yes and for no? They made the college football playoff last year. I non-troll answer actually think they are. What do you guys think? Go vote for me in the comments section. Now, producer Chris was very upset to see Tyler Barron on this list. He goes, why is Barron on here? You're not wrong. He was pretty good last year for Tennessee, and I think has a chance to be even better this upcoming year for the Miami Hurricanes. Here's what one AFC East scout said about Barron now with the Miami Hurricanes. They are jacked about this guy. Coaches there think he can be this year's Liatu Latu, is a transfer who quickly dominates and blows up. Big jump in production this past year for Barron. Hurricanes also hit the transfer portal pretty hard. If he does have the Latu-esque breakout, gets himself into round one conversation, I think that's how he fits the sleeper angle of it all. The other Notre Dame linebacker is Jack Kiser. Remember, they had two guys taken in this past year's NFL draft. Now he kind of gets to be the guy at inside linebacker for the Fighting Irish. Here's what one AFC North area scout said. Kiser is all over the place for them. I love his read and react ability. The hip flexibility is my biggest question, but he has pretty good speed in space. He had a couple decent stat sheet productions this past season, a sack and a half. The Notre Dame defense, I think, kind of maybe split all the linebacker big splash plays up a little bit there. Matt Miller mentioned him as a potential first-round pick. I'd be happily surprised for Jack Kiser if that happened. A player we have mentioned as a possible first-round pick, Tacario Davis. As I've said before, I like a lot of these Arizona players. I think they're kind of underrated. Here's what one NFC West area scout said about Davis. He could break out, but I always worry when a guy has a lot of PBUs and no picks. Joey Porter Jr. was like that and fell to round 2 because of it. Davis didn't get beat a lot. Now, when he did, some of it were red zone scores, 4 touchdowns, under 43% completion rate. A lot of these, when we have these conversations in June, it's kind of all built around, well, if he takes a step forward, he gets more interceptions on his resume, cuts down those touchdowns, yeah, he'll be in the first-round conversation. We've got all the greatest NFL coverage you could look for, even in June when there's so little going on around the NFL. Hit that sub button right now, youtube.com/chatsportstv. How about the other Iowa corner from last year? Not Cooper DeJean, but Sebastian Castro. Here's what one AFC scouting director said about him. He's not Cooper to me, but he's a really good player overall. He's quick, really good ability to tackle in the open field, and he's never out of position. Now, you might notice, the completion percentage is a little bit high. The yards are low, though. He mostly played the nickel corner spot last year. And I haven't dove too far into the nickel corners in this year's class. I think that's a good name to keep an eye out for, though. Another corner is Quincy Riley out of Louisville. And I think last year, the Louisville defense overall was really underrated. I think that they kind of got overlooked a little bit playing in the ACC or whatever. I was very impressed by how the Louisville defense as a unit overall played, and Riley was a big part of that. Here's what one college scouting director said on Riley. He's a really good player. I love his physicality, how he fights to close on the ball. He's probably more of a CB2 or a CB3, but the traits are all there. He didn't get beat very much. That's all I'm going to say. When you're putting up an under 40% completion rate, you're doing something right or you're not playing enough. He played enough there. I think that's a very good sleeper name. Finally, Kevin Winston Jr., the safety out of Penn State. This one would fall more into the maybe he's a first-round pick sleeper type of name. Again, AFC North area scout to Matt Miller of ESPN. Number 21, Winston, for Penn State is a baller. He's a quarterback on the back end for them, and you see with his positioning and how well he reads it. The Georgia safety, Malachi Starks, is probably my number 1, but Winston is a close second. I have seen him in some first-round mock drafts out there, the way too early versions. Not a ton of splash plays, but he didn't get beat really that often, and he didn't miss many tackles. I think that is valuable in the modern-day NFL still.